We would now like to invite Swami Atmapriyananda, Vice-Chancellor of the Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda University, to address all of us this evening. As a monk of the Ramakrishna order and an educationist, Swamiji's interests include spreading Swami Vivekananda's education model of building character in youth, speaking of the parallels between Yoga Vedanta and modern science besides others. He is also involved as a council member in a number of global organizations working for peace and harmony. Swami Atmapriyananda. Sairam.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the true nature of knowledge. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the application of that knowledge. May we both, the teacher and the disciple, strive together for the acquisition of knowledge and wisdom. May the knowledge and wisdom that we acquire be effective and illuminative. May there be no dissension, disharmony between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om, that existence. With our respectful salutations to the divine presence of Sri Sathya Sai Babaji, and my salutations to all the dignitaries in the dais, all the delegates present here, and the dear students. I was just musing that I should briefly address the question raised by Sri Anilji here. He was very deeply worried and concerned about this one question. Everybody knows everything which is being said. It is not that there is anything new which is being spoken about. What is to be done, all of us know. We do not do it. What should not be done, everybody knows, but we do it. What is the tragedy? What stops us? So he said we should perhaps brainstorm and heartstorm to find out a solution to this problem of what is happening to us to prevent us from doing this. A partial solution is available. In Swami Vivekananda, I talked to about this now this morning. Swami Vivekananda writes in a letter, 3 things are necessary for any individual or a nation to achieve greatness. 1, conviction in the powers of goodness. 2, absence of jealousy and suspicion. 3, helping those who are trying to be good and trying to do good. Take the first one. I was talking to you about this in the morning. Goodness is everywhere. All the people are potentially divine and potentially good. But the problem with goodness is, good people are not convinced about the power of goodness as much as wicked people are convinced about the power of wickedness. There is a fundamental law in nature that wherever you expose yourself to a larger life, you get power from there. You expose yourself to a huge ocean of power in the form of God, in the form of, if you believe in one, in the form of science. Those who open themselves to the scientific world, the mysteries of nature, the microcosmic and the macrocosmic, they got huge power of insight from that exposed attitude. Maybe an Einstein, the relativity theory, maybe a Schrödinger, maybe a Heisenberg, maybe a Dirac, or even maybe the discovery of the DNA structure, Crick and Watson. So you get power from wherever you expose yourself to a larger life. The problem is, Vivekananda also pointed this out, wicked people are convinced about wickedness, and they expose themselves to wickedness, the power of wickedness. Day and night they think of how I can do wicked deeds, how I can improve myself by wrong means. And by constantly meditating upon wickedness and exposing themselves to the power of wickedness, they receive power from wickedness. The old Puranic tussle between the Daivas and the Asuras. In our Puranas, we have very interesting stories of how Devendra, with all his Vajrayudha, and his cabinet consisting of most powerful ministers. Who are they? Yama, the god of death. Everybody fears him. Varuna, the god of the waters and the rains. He can bring in tsunami, he can bring in super floods. Vayu, who can bring in super cyclones, storms, tornadoes. With such a powerful cabinet, how is it that Indra was dethroned by Mahishasura, who simply usurped his throne, and the Devas were running for their lives? The Puranic story means being good alone is not sufficient. Vivekananda repeatedly said, you be strong. Usually good people are not only good, but they are goody-goody, they are weak, and they always fear. Fear is something which wicked people rarely know. Wicked people are powerful, strong, fearless, and they are not ashamed of being wicked. Good people are full of fear, weak, and ashamed of being good. They think there are the smarter people who outwit them by telling lies and getting away with it. Said, why did you not also follow it? My students used to say, in the examination, I saw a student from some other college, some other school, cheating in the examination, copying from the book. And he got marks in, he got the job which I couldn't. And the accusation against the Ramakrishna Mission monks, I don't know about your institution, you have made us useless for society. We are neither here nor there. You have taught us values, you have given us so much of wisdom, so we can't do things which others can do. Why is it that we are always suffering? The beautiful poem which Anilji was chanting here. Oh God, why is it that good people are not always getting beaten? Why is it the wicked is thriving? One answer God perhaps could give is that, my dear son, a wicked person is so strong, so fearless, I love strong people. Swami Vivekananda was perhaps the only religious teacher who said, be wicked if you must, but don't be weak. He said, when I was in school, I read the Milton's Paradise Lost, and the only fellow for whom I had respect was Satan, who dared to disobey God. You know the story? He was an angel. His name was Lucifer. He was luminous, bright. God created everybody, everything in the universe, created man last in his own image, instructed the angels to bow down to man. Lucifer got up, we shall not do this. The first revolt, Inqilab Jindabad, began in the heavens. And you know the first sentence he spoke? One of our English professors pointed out to me, the first sentence of Satan's speech in heavens, revolting against God. He said, arise, awake, or be ever fallen. Swami Vivekananda was a great student of English literature. He had wonderful teachers, the Englishmen, who taught him. He had thoroughly read the Milton's Paradise Lost. There's words, arise and awake, perhaps stuck into his mind from Milton when he translated Uttishtata Jagrata. Then he said, we shall not do this. Why did Swami Vivekananda say this? That because good people, if they are weak, goodness can never thrive. We do not want that kind of goodness, which is goody-goodiness, which is weak, namby-pamby, which can never match wickedness. So what goodness should do, according to Swami Vivekananda, goodness should be steeled and tempered with strength and fearlessness. Vivekananda repeatedly said, Nayamatma balahinena labhya. This Atman cannot be realized by the weak people. Abhi, abhayam vai brahma, abhayam vai pratishtosi janaka. In the Upanishads, abhayam, abhi, fearlessness and strength. He was a man of spirituality, he was a man of religion, and is a person who was soaked in God. But he did not want that kind of a God who is love personified, but not emotionalism or sentimentalism in love. That kind of love which is so powerful and so strong, whose every word of ours possessing that love will tell like thunderbolt. He wrote in a letter, religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What with genuflections and frustrations, what the world needs now is the strength of character. Such a character which is one of boundless love, whose every word will tell like thunderbolt. So Swami Vivekananda therefore saw that good people are getting beaten by the wicked people only because goodness thinks that weakness can masquerade as goodness. No, good people have to be strong. And along with strength, good people should get the synergy. You can see in wicked people, not only they are strong, they can quickly gang up. There's a quick ganging up of wicked people together and they will fight for wickedness. Good people can never come together, particularly the educated people. I have been dealing with higher education for nearly 40 years. It's very difficult to bring teachers together on the same page for a good cause. It is not easy. Intellectuals always will argue, fight, and they're so powerful intellects. The heart doesn't flow. So Swami Vivekananda said, Satyata, goodness, along with that, sahas, strength, and sangathan. The Ramakrishna order which is created, the Ramakrishna Mission, like this organization created by Sathya Sai Baba, is an experiment which Swamiji wanted to try to see if these three can be brought together. Satyata, Sahas, or Sangathan. If you can have these three and the various institutions which are encouraging and promoting goodness, strength, can they come together and synergize? It has not happened so far. Why is it that the Hindu religion is such a bad shape? It is not because of inter-religious disharmony, it is more intra-religious disharmony. There are so many factions and groups within Hindu religion can never see eye to eye with each other. Just several decades ago we saw the Vishishtadvaitins and Dvaitins and Advaitins and Vaishnavas and Shaktas constantly at war with each other. And therefore what is necessary is synergizing these good, strong energies so that we can combat wickedness. Once the boys and girls get a taste of the success of goodness which is strong, then they will be good, not because they're afraid to be bad, that they will be good because they are convinced that goodness is good. Out of the power of conviction will come the power to be able to be good. Now people are losing faith in goodness. As I said, the student told me that the other boy was cheating in the examination and he is getting the high marks and he is going to get a job, but what about me? Then I asked him, why didn't you also do that? There was no invigilation worthy name. Then he said, I was terribly afraid. The other fellow was not afraid, so I was horribly afraid that I may be caught. The fear to do something bad should not be the motive power for being good. The motive power should be, I will be good because I am convinced about goodness. I have the strength to stand by it like Harishchandra, and even if I cut to pieces, I will not be otherwise. So the goodness out of fear, which practices goodness, I call it default goodness. We do not want default goodness. We want positive goodness. One word about the values. I was talking to this morning about value and price. Professor Kaushik Vasu was a great economist, and he was also the vice president of the World Bank. He told us a story. He said, Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded to a person some years ago for distinguishing between price and value. The price of a thing may be very small, but the value of that could be very large. He said, Swami Vivekananda spoke about this in a letter in the form of, what do you mean? Cut off my nose? Even if you have 10 billion, I'll not give my nose. Then he smiled and went back to the father of the girl. Sir, I went and checked myself. This boy has a priceless possession which is worth $10 billion. What do you speak of 1 million? He said, so? I checked it myself, I saw. Then the marriage is over. Then I said, what happened? This is worth $1 billion. That is the value which you give. It is not the price, but the value. In a sense, therefore, every one of us is a spiritualist. What is spirituality? How does it distinguish from materialism? Materialism says, I am the spirit and I become glorious because I possess large pieces of matter. I have a car, I have a credit card, I have several Android phones, I have a beautiful building, I have a bank balance. So these material goods make the spirit glorious. That is materialism. Spirituality says, it is spirit which makes matter glorious. As I told you this morning, a broken stick which is being preserved and worshipped at Belur Mutt is so glorious because it is touched by a spirit called Swami Vivekananda. Whenever spirit touches matter, matter becomes glorious. The price of that piece of wood is very small, but the value is remarkable. In that sense, therefore, every one of us is a spiritualist because we believe that a thing becomes glorious because it's touched by the Spirit. Once we are convinced about the spirituality and the power of spirituality and actually try this for a few months or years in our personal lives, whatever be the crisis, our education secretary was telling us this morning, how through crisis she had to maneuver and then win, and he really saw success coming. Because truth will definitely triumph. Satyameva Jayate. Swami Vivekananda wrote in a letter, I will compare truth to a corrosive substance of infinite power, which will burn its way wherever it falls, in soft substances at once, in hard granite slowly, but it must. Believe in the power of goodness, believe in the power of truth, believe in the power of purity, believe in the power of unselfishness. If we can inculcate in our children that these things are not stories or unrealities, these things can happen even now. And a person who is fearless, a person who is strong and combines goodness with strength, and good, strong, powerful people coming together and synergize, and such groups again synergizing, it will be tremendous force, and the society cannot resist this power anymore. So we have to awaken the power within and show to the world that the Atman within, the divine within, is a source of infinite power. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, these are the words of the Upanishads. And we are that substance. We are potentially divine, and tell the children that we have nothing to teach you. As is beautifully mentioned with this education secretary, nobody can teach anybody. That's Vivekananda's statement. It's like, just like a gardener saying, I can grow a plant. You can't grow a plant. Suppose there are 10 rose plants. He puts the seed, give the same manure, same affection, same amount of exposure to sunlight, same amount of water. Do you mean to say every one of these plants will exactly grow in the same way and give a beautiful rose flower at the end of the same time? No. Because each one of these rose plants is an inbuilt antaryami, as we call it, the indwelling God or indwelling divine presence within that plant, which will accept what is given to it in its own way, reject what it doesn't want, absorb what it has taken, and transform itself into a beautiful flower. So all that you need to do as teachers is to go to the children and say, oh, beautiful divine beings present here, which our Babaji always used to say, oh, divine self present there, I'm offering to you this lesson which I have, offering to you this knowledge, offering to you the wisdom which I have. You take it as much as you want, in the way you want, reject what you can't, and then transform yourself into a beautiful plant. And you watch this plant growing, getting transformed. That is the greatest satisfaction. So there's a kind of puja that you do, the worship that you do, not that you give something, you offer something to be absorbed. So in this act of worship, you think of these children as Narayanas or gods themselves, and you as the worshipper. Vivekananda said, cut out the word help and teach from your mind. You can never teach, you can never help. Let the receiver stand up and accept. Let the giver kneel down and worship. If you have this attitude, each one of you will be giants, and you can see, try this for 6 months and see. I challenge my students. You talk about wickedness thriving. Have you ever tried goodness with strength and fearlessness? Try it for 6 months and see how the power of goodness wins. Satyameva jayate. This is not a dictum. This is true.
Our token of love to Swami Atmapriyananda.